Whakatakateho ki te uru, whakatakateho ki te tonga. Kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ake ana te atakura, hei tio, hei huka, hei hohu, ti hei moriora. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. It is my great pleasure to invite you to a very special place, the Maokatia Takapu Refuge, also known as the Muriwai Gannet colony. We're going to watch some wild animals and develop some hypotheses about how reproduction and survival might drive the evolution of their behaviour. We are here in Aotearoa, New Zealand on Te Ika Maui, the North Island, near Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. About 40% of the people here are migrants from other places, but northern Aotearoa and the Hauraki Gulf is also home to almost 1/4 of the world's seabirds. That's more species of seabirds than all of Aotearoa's land, forest, freshwater and shorebird species combined. Unfortunately, seabirds are one of the world's most at-risk groups of animals. Loss of breeding sites and habitat, climate change, introduced predators such as rats, cats and dogs, accidental capture and fishing gear, and pollution and ingestion of plastic are some of the greatest threats. So what a treasure we have here, and what a responsibility we have to take care of our seabirds, not only for us, but for the rest of the world. Today, let's visit a surprisingly accessible seabird nesting site on the western edge of Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland at Muriwai, an area with 9 overlapping iwi representing Tangata Whenua Maori, the first people in Aotearoa. Start by familiarising yourself with the locations of the 4 colonies and their close proximity to an urban boundary. Standing in the car park at the top of these windy cliffs, we can look down on the black sand surf beach. And behind us is the site of the old Takamiro Pa. You can see how close we are to the urban boundary, and people have lived here for a very long time. We now head down the track to a viewing platform overlooking the colony. For most of the year, the site looks like this, almost empty and relatively quiet. But you may find a few birds getting in some early practice. In front of us, you can see little evenly spaced mounds. These are the nesting sites which get reused each year. A large number exist within each of the 4 sub-colonies. Starting in August, this rocky island and cliffside transforms into a large and thriving colony of takapu, the Australasian gannet. Fully grown, they weigh 2.5 kilograms and have a wingspan of 2 meters. This is a big bird with an even bigger attitude. The birds first to arrive claim a mound and begin making a rather scraggy nest, furnished with just a few bits of vegetation. The first nest to be claimed could be considered the best spots. These are on Motutara Island. This is the north-facing side, and also the south-facing slope of Motutara Island. The cliffs then begin to fill from the centre of each sub-colony outwards. This is the south colony. This is the north colony. This is the middle colony. And the last spots to be taken are those at the edges. A full colony is noisy, really smelly, and full of action. If you turn your back for 1 minute, another bird may steal your nesting material, but stealing material comes with a risk. The Takapu are aggressive birds. They'll fight over nesting sites, materials, partners, and even when birds arrive or leave the colony if they get too close. Next time, maybe this Takapu will reconsider stealing nesting material from another bird. The mounds seem to be perfectly spaced, so each bird generally remains just out of reach from an angry Takapu's sharp outstretched beak. Although some individuals will choose to nest in isolation on the colony fringes. Like most seabirds, it takes 2 Takapu to raise a chick, and the nest is never left unattended. They will mate and lay a single egg. The parents will then take turns to incubate the egg, or once or twice a day, fly off to forage at sea. At least one of the 2 parents is always present at the nest, to protect the egg or chick from angry Takapu neighbours. After their egg hatches, both parents will head out to sea more frequently to satisfy the chick's big appetite. They use their remarkable eyesight and streamlined bodies to plunge dive down into the water to catch fish and squid. Like most monogamous seabirds, both of the sexes look the same, at least to us. Before molecular studies were possible, many people assumed Takapu nested in male-female pairs. They also believed birds paired for life, returning to nest and mate with the same partner each year. Of course, the reality is much more complex and rich. Auckland University PhD student Steffi Ismar found that the birds themselves can identify males by their redder head feathers. Both male-female and female-female pairs raise chicks, and about 12% of chicks are not genetically related to one of the parents that is raising them. Steffi also found that when the birds return each nesting season, about 40% of the pairs divorce, and both birds nest with a new partner. Let's return to thinking about the busy colony here at Muriwai. There are over 1,000 nests, all aggressively defended by a pair of birds. There is fighting, pecking, stealing of nesting material, and there is extra pair mating. So why don't the birds just seek a quieter life and live a little further away? There is plenty more room here on the cliffs at Muriwai. They could spread out, but for some reason, they still choose to nest packed closely together in a colony. It is very windy here, and West Auckland often receives high rainfall. The birds live on top of highly exposed cliffs with sheer walls and unforgiving falls. Below, large crashing waves relentlessly roll in from the ocean that Takapu plunge dive into and forage for fish. Potentially, thermal properties within the colony may also influence nest choice. This footage was taken at midday after the South Colony had been fully exposed to the sun for 90 minutes. The weather conditions can change rapidly at the colony. Many offshore storms roll in from the Tasman Sea. Here, 1 minute the colony was experiencing a beautiful and warm spring day. Then only 15 minutes later, it was bombarded with high winds and cold, driving rain. In the skies, we see many black-backed gulls. One year, a student on this course saw one swoop down and try to take a chick. But in the ocean, we often see roaming seals. They can be fierce predators for chicks that land in the water when learning to fly, and for adult birds as they forage. On land, the colony is very close to people's houses, and therefore close to introduced predators like dogs, rats, stoats, and cats. All of these factors have the potential to directly or indirectly impact colony health and ultimately mortality. If you were one of the male takapu that tend to arrive first for the breeding season, where would you like to have your nest? If you were one of the later birds, usually females, which of the birds waiting with the nests would you choose for a mate? Pause the video and take some time to consider these questions and activities. There are two great drivers for the evolution of animal behaviour: survival and reproduction. But before we start to record any behaviour within the colony, sit back and enjoy the sunset. Start to think about why they nest where they do, and how reproduction and survival have led to the evolution of that nesting behaviour. Then come back tomorrow and your observations will begin. I suggest watching the replicates again to ensure you haven't missed any interactions. But if you've finished your observations, please enjoy the views one last time before heading home to analyse your data. Kia hora te marino kia whakapapu paunamu te moana. He huarahi ma tātou I te rangi nei. Aroha tū, aroha me. Tātou ia tātou katoa. Hui e tae ki e.